Hi, I'm going to move away from the dark side this week and read something a little bit lighter. It's just a series of random thoughts. I read it at a drama circle that I go to the other night and it went down quite well. And I like to try different things. So I would have worn brighter clothing, but I don't have any. So. The Happy Meal started to lose its taste as she got older. At first the waitress couldn't pinpoint his face. Then she realised that she'd blocked him on the dating site. He much preferred the award-winning gastropub when it was just a pub. She never left an establishment without a pen in her handbag. That was way too much accidental eye contact for one day. His wallet contained 90% of worthless bits of paper. Even though there was a sign saying closed for business, the couple still spent the best part of 5 minutes staring through the window as if someone would suddenly appear from inside. He may never have been in jail, but his face claimed otherwise. The coffee was mediocre, but the view was spectacular. The cutlery was never moved, yet he could never find it. Nobody should feel that guilty for requesting an extra serviette or two. She took all the CVs in at the counter with a gracious smile, but not one of them made it to the manager's desk. His sweater was definitely on inside out. Her face had an icy look of disapproval before she even ordered. He was too shy to say anything about the lukewarm chicken, and he cursed himself internally for it. The waitress did her best to smile politely as the man pointed out the 3 slight grammatical errors on the menu. His jittering right leg made everything on the table rattle. It takes him quite a while to find a fresh shirt each morning, what with all the skeletons in his closet. He always gets a taxi straight to the early house from the prison entrance. The carpet smells of wet dog. It was hard to tell whether the stains on the bathroom wall were of blood or paint. She couldn't decide if they were a couple or brother and sister. He'd spent a total of €382.44 in the cafe before he finally asked her out. There was a stranger in his seat. She went into the cubicle and felt like not returning. He always drank brandy and carried a black bag, and was always either just after getting off a bus or was about to board one. The man with the pockmarked face asked so many questions, they were sure he was a mystery shopper. His clothes always looked a size too big for him. His stories always sounded strangely familiar, as if stolen from another source. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion, as a tip jar smashed onto the ground, scattering coins across the floor. His ringtone was at odds with his rugged demeanour. The place smelled of cheap detergent. Someone gave the funeral home just 2 stars on TripAdvisor. It's not the end of the world, she said to her friend, who was crying because she lost her engagement ring. Later that day, a huge meteorite hit Earth and the world ended. He was always a dog person until he was mauled by one. He bought a new suit for attending job interviews. He ended up wearing it to 3 funerals. When he finally did get an interview, he wished he was putting the suit on for a funeral. She finally realised she had jealousy issues when she accused her boyfriend of eyeing up a shop mannequin. He had no real enemies except for an especially lethal one, himself. He cooked dinner for his friend before he strangled him to death, keeping the oven gloves on while doing so. She had great taste in clothes but terrible taste in men. Out of the population of the 2,000 or so people who resided in his town, he classed at least 1,800 of them as a village idiot. She couldn't get the smell of the hospital ward out of her nostrils. Whoever turned the sign the other way around as a practical joke didn't realise that it had already been turned, so they had unwittingly done people a favour by putting it back in the correct position. Work canteens made him nervous and uncomfortable. He felt as if he'd exhumed a former version of himself from a grave and stapled all the bits together to create an incomplete and shoddy version of who he really was. Thanks very much for that. It was a bit long and some of it was hard enough to read, but I hope you enjoyed it regardless. Okay, until next time, thanks, bye.